Hey, so good morning again, everyone. Great turnout in person and online too. So thank you for joining us for the first Sales and Marketing Chamber Council of 2022. Thank you especially to Twin City Used Car Sales, Mr. Bobby Ledbetter, for sponsoring this series this year, for Spectrum Reach being our speaker this morning, and also providing lunch. So thank you guys so much from Spectrum for providing lunch and some awesome door prizes to be given away later today. But with no further ado, I will turn over to Glenn Ingram. Glenn, you want to unmute yourself, and I'll turn my webcam off and my speaker off.
Morning, and for those online, appreciate everybody coming out today. It is going to be an exciting year as we all re-engage and get back to these meetings in person. Spectrum Reach is committed to helping support the Chamber of Commerce in any way that we can this year. We're going to put on several different marketing seminars, starting with today. We have several different subjects we're going to cover throughout the year, but today it's about geofencing, georecency, and geotargeting. We're going to try to cover all of those topics. One thing that we focus on at Spectrum Reach is most of our clients and organizations that usually their needs and challenges that they have within their business fall into three separate categories. It's usually they're not known. People do not know who they are or what their business is, or they don't know how to be found. You know, the days of the yellow pages are somewhat over. So a lot of times people just pick up the cell phone and Google search for a business organization. So if you cannot be found there, that's a challenge. And the other one is being engaged, and that's really what we're going to talk about today. Geofencing is one of the cool new toys that came out for marketing a couple of years ago. What I want you to know on the front end of that is there's a lot of companies that offer geofencing, but they don't always offer the same thing. As in most things in life, you have to make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Make sure that you're getting not only the best product that you can, but the most safest and most assured to your bottom line that you're getting the best value for your dollar. Everything that Spectrum does is tag certified, which means we have the highest rating in media in the country, that all of our products are completely above board and approved. Talking about being engaged. Some of y'all are probably very familiar with social media. Social media is a way to be engaged with your customers, but geofencing is another one. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about geofencing and georecency. I'm going to give you the same analogy that I use for a lot of businesses that help them understand the concept. Say you go to the beach with a family, you're hanging out by the pool or on the beach, plane flies by and it says, Big Kahuna's 2 for 1. Do you think anything about that? Not really. You're at the beach. Big Kahuna's is right down the street, and you're thinking, okay, they have sale going. What that is they know you're a potential customer for them. You're at the beach, you're on vacation, you're with your family, and they bring the ad buy in front of you. Marketing online digitally is somewhat similar when it comes to geofencing. For example, if you go to certain websites that are looking for certain products, or you go into a business that is using geofencing technology, you get served their ad after the fact. And the first thing that pops through your head is, wow, Big Brother is watching me. How in the world did they know I was doing it? Well, there's a lot of different ways, but georecency and geofencing is the first way. The technology exists in the market today that we can target a specific location with a message. So as your customers enter and leave a location, you can serve an ad or a message to them. For example, if you've ever gone online and you've been searching for, I'm going to change gears for a minute. You've been searching for a pair of hunting shoes, hunting boots, running shoes, been looking for a particular type of sporting goods. It seems like the next 30 days, everywhere you go, you see the same thing. Okay, that is the retargeting part of geofencing. The technology exists today where if we geofence an area for you and you have a client that comes into that area, and then after they leave, we can ping their smartphone with an ad for your business or organization, and that ad will keep reappearing within their news feed as they're looking through other ads and other videos for the next 30 days. Okay? So you're thinking Big Brother is watching you. You're thinking Big Brother knew that you went into Gadsden Outfitters because you get an ad from them after you leave. But the actual truth is somebody geofenced that location and you just walk through it. For example, how many of you ever been to a store, you get home, and you get an ad for the store you just came from? Happens all the time. That's the geo-recency part of this. They're targeting their own location. So if you wanted to, what kind of businesses do we have here today? Gadsden Public Library. If you want to geo-target your own location, you could send a message to those people after they left. Did you know that? And tell them about the other programs and the other benefits to being a member of the public library. Another thing with the geofencing is you have the ability to target demographically age, gender, income, education, and other contextual, such as, are they a sports enthusiast? Are they an outdoor enthusiast? So you can narrow down even further the type of person that you're trying to reach. As you can see on the handout in front of you and up here on the map, your reporting at the end of the 30 days shows you how many people came into the target that you geofenced. And it will also show you how many people came into that area and then were served a message after they left. How geofencing works is once you tell us where to find your typical customer, once you define who you're trying to reach, we target different businesses similar to that or locations. And once people enter that area and then leave, we send a message to them. We continue that message for 30 days. And at the end of the month, you get a report that says, this is how many people received the message. And this is how many people went to your website because of that message. How many of y'all are familiar with Christmas at Falls? City of Gadsden does. Okay, this past season, they had their best year ever during the middle of COVID. Best year ever. They broke all records that they had on a daily basis, weekly basis, and for the entire program. But we did something a little different for them this year. Let's talk about that for a minute. If you were looking for the typical person who's going to buy tickets for Christmas at the Falls, Christy, what do you think they're probably male or female? Probably female. You think they have kids? Most likely have kids. Are they a particular age group? A particular age group. So let's think about this. Where are you going to find moms, school-age kids, particular age group that's within a reasonable driving distance to Napalula Falls? Okay. Let me show you what we did. I geofenced every elementary and middle school in all the counties surrounding Etowah County. Okay. Moms in Carlin, as they're sitting there on their phone trying to find something to keep them entertained while they're waiting for the people ahead of them to go, guess what shows up on their phone? Christmas at the Falls. Don't miss it. Buy your tickets here. And they can connect on to the ad and buy their tickets immediately through the website at the biggest year they've ever had. Okay? One of the cool things about our reporting that we have as well, as you can see, I can tell them exactly what towns that they got the most result. I can tell how many people went to the website, and we can see how many ads were served. Let me back up and start. On the Christmas at the Falls, they had a total of 143,338 impressions during a 5-week time period. What that means is roughly 143,000 people saw their message. Of that, 368 people immediately at that time went to their website and bought their tickets. That didn't count the number of people who saw the message and went back later and bought. Of that group, I can show them where the top 10 markets were, where people saw the message and responded to it. We can show them that 75.41% of the time that people watch the entire message. Think about this for a minute. If you're online and you have that little online video that comes up before you get the chance to watch what you really want to watch, how often do you bail? 80% of the time, 90% of the time? Okay. Well, let me ask you this. What if the video that was offered to you was targeted for you, your gender, your age group, your income level, your interest? What do you think the chances are you watch that little 15-second video then? In this case, it was 75.41% of the time. Okay. So as you start talking about all the cool things that you can do to reach out people, one of the things I want you to take away with you today is the targetability based on the demographics that you're trying to reach. If you can tell me who your average customer is, if you can tell me how old they are, their gender, whether they get kids, if they're a homeowner, we can target a program to reach that particular person. For example, this spring will be 25 years I've been doing what I do. Okay? 25 years ago, it was just TV. I take my clients a VHS tape to get their commercial approved. If you had a sporting goods store, we'd put your ad on ESPN. If you sold women's clothing, we'd talk about Lifetime Television or HGTV. Now we can pick specific demographics and put your message in front of them and connect them immediately to your website. It's kind of like the billboard you see going down the highway, but you can touch it, go immediately to the website and shop. It's instant. One of the reasons we have this at the bottom of the sales funnel is anytime you're engaging with a customer, like the Gadsden Public Library, that's the next step from there is for them taking an action, either completing a sale, getting more information, or reaching out to you to contact you, okay? Other courses, we're going to talk about how to be found. We'll talk about search engine marketing, how to be known. We'll talk about streaming, we'll talk about linear, talking about cable, talk about ATT-Uverse. 25 years ago, we had 96% of the penetration rate on cable TV. Cable right now is about 50. But you have all these other layers that are out there that you can reach people. What's coming in the future, in addition to the geofencing, the georecency, and the geotargeting, is we're going to be able to target your customers by zip code and put your ad directly in front of them. Every product that we have comes with a 24 hours access to a dashboard, so you can track how many people have been to your website. If you have a web provider like Pleximedia, you probably have a backdoor tool as well, so you can check your own Google Analytics and make sure that what we're telling you on the front side is matching what's actually happening. Behind. Is there any questions on the geofencing and georecency at this point? I just threw a whole lot of information at you at one time. Geofencing is one of those cool new things that it really helps you target in to reach a client. It gives you an opportunity to be as creative with your marketing as you've ever been before. You know, what we did right here for the city of Gadsden, I'm duplicating this right now for the folks that own the factory over in Rainbow City, also have a location in Gulf Shores. You know what their biggest moneymaker is for them? Kids' birthday parties. How about we drop the same thing in around Gulf Shores and we hit moms and car lines and tell them about kids' birthday parties? You think we can move the needle for them a little bit? Absolutely. Well, when we talk, you tell me about your business, we find a similar scenario and custom build something for you based on that. Okay. Personally, what sold me on geofencing the first time was my daughter plays sports. We were at a tournament over in Anniston. We spent a lot of time sitting on bleachers that were not as comfortable as these chairs. Okay. We met a lady who had a really cool stadium seat. And as I went on to talk to some of the dads and other parents in that group, my watch stayed and talked to her. As I pulled my phone up a little bit later, guess what starts popping up in my feed? Stadium seats. So you would think that Big Brother is watching and knows what I'm doing. Truth of the matter is, my wife's still talking to the lady, found out the website where she bought it. She's been to the website. She's already shopped prices at 3 different locations. And since we share an IP address, stadium seats are showing up on my phone. A current day example, I've got a daughter who's looking at prom dresses. Guess what shows up on my feed? Okay. You know, any questions? Okay. This is what I tell people all the time is geofencing, search engine marketing, online video is one of those things you've probably heard about. It might be something that you still have questions about. It's not right for every particular client, but it is for a lot. There's a lot of different things that we can do. I'm trying to think of some of my largest clients that are using this. I've got several financial clients that are targeting specific areas for their mortgage programs. I've got another financial institution I'm working with right now. When they came to me to lay out a strategy for 2022, they said the 2 things that they need to do is they need to get more mortgage business and more auto and RV and boat. Can you see where the conversation's going to go? It's a real easy conversation. You target the car dealers and the RV lots and the boat lots where people already shop. You don't have to advertise and spend all your money reaching everybody. You just have to reach the ones. Okay.
So for example, I'm sorry, question. So like, let's say we're targeting people who love books. Could we like bookstore them all?
Absolutely.
These people.
There's 2 different ways you can geofence. I can go to a 80 meter radius or 500. Best way to kind of visualize that, city block, half a mile. Okay, city block, half a mile. You have to think about what you're doing. For example, let's say if somebody here owned a window store, your first stop would be, man, I want to target the window department at Lowe's. I'm thinking I'm gonna kill it. Well, you might get a lot of response, but then you have to look and say, well, okay, that's on the way to the restroom as well. So everybody went and used the bathroom at Lowe's, just get your ad for windows. Then always, you need to strategically think a little past that. Another client that I have a meeting with at 3:30 this afternoon. It's a local auction company. He was my first one trying some of this new strategy about 2 years ago. He came to me, he said, Glenn, I got a $4 million piece of property in Central Florida I need to sell. $4 million. It's in the middle of nowhere. Ain't nothing around. If you're familiar with hunting, it is a high fence property, which means the deer on the inside can be genetically enhanced. So they're bigger antlers. There's a big clubhouse. You can bring all your friends. Bass ponds, 400 acre, $4 million. He says, how am I going to sell this in the middle of nowhere in Florida? So my question was, who is the buyer for a $4 million place to take all your buddies to hunting for? And we talked about it for a little bit, and I said, okay, young guy that's got a lot of money, got a lot of friends, wants to take them, have a good time. What does he do? As we dive into the conversation a little bit further, we realized that pro baseball, pro football, pro basketball was probably the guys that had a big enough checkbook. They could write a $4 million check, have a place to take their friends. And then we thought about it a little bit deeper. Well, I don't want to target the stadium because Joe Sixpack sitting on the, the nosebleed seat, he's straight by to get that $150 ticket. He didn't have $4 million. So what do you think we did? We targeted the practice facility. They sold it in less than 6 months. Okay. So if you can tell us who your customer is, and we can figure out a strategy on how to reach them, that's a whole lot better investment of your money, and it's a better way to track it from the beginning of the flight all the way through. Okay. You want to give some stuff away?